listening to Racing Rewind, brought to you by Sessions, starting the 22-23 season at Oakland Park Stud. Sessions boasts are better than 80% winners to runners, with average earnings close to $100,000.
Arcadia Queenie had a peep over the right shoulder, and she's going to blow them away. Galaxy Star beats Gadding and Material Man.
Welcome to Racing Rewind, proudly presented by Sessions, who stands the 22-23 season at Oakland Park Stud. If you have an opinion, send a text to 0427 789 571. That's 0427 789 571.
Corporate Bruce and home run, but Northerly Danny Miller popping away, and Northerly wins the railway from old comrade Lizzie Longlegs, flashed up on the inside.
Yes, welcome along to Racing Rewind, 7 minutes past 8 o'clock. Marty Young joined by Michael Heaton. We're flying solo together, mate. How are you?
Yes, going very well. Lockie Taylor's en route to New Zealand.
He's what?
He's on his way to New Zealand. I think this morning he was flying to Queenstown and there was a failed landing, so he had to do the switcheroo back to Auckland, which was apparently a very scary experience. There were several passengers on the plane screaming and saying prayers, but all is well. He's back in Auckland, I think, and heading to Queenstown a little later on.
Okay. Geez, we couldn't lose Lock.
I think I've worked out why he snuck away as well.
Why is that? Busy
day for him today, I think. Father's Day, I reckon he'd be getting a few there'd be a couple popping out of the woodwork.
Just take it out of the equation. Yep. Now, last week's winner of the Sunday Saviour is Greg F. He found the Moe Multi saluting at $12.50. Good on you, Greg. Thanks, Taylor. And Taylor will be getting hold of you and sending you that $100 Tab Touch voucher. Out there at Belmont Park, it was Jolly Beggar Stakes Day. How did it play?
Well, the track, I think you certainly wanted to be on the fence or closer to the speed. The 6 of the 8 winners were in the first 4 in the run. The other 2 races where they weren't, they went quite quick, and 13 of the 24 place getters settled on the rail, so more than 50%. The win of Star Trade in the Jolly Beggar Stakes was just enormous. I've watched that replay a couple of times now. I've just got no idea how he won. Terrific training performance, dropping from 2,000 metres to 1,000 metres off 49 days. And at the 200-metre mark, if you take out Son of a God, who was tailed off, he was still last and looked like running, probably maybe being 1 or 2 home, but he just rocketed to the line and somehow found a way to win. It
was a funny one. We're at the Broken Hill Hotel and you couldn't hear the commentary, but we're watching the race because we're more concerned on watching the footy. It was a terrific part of that game, Collingwood and Geelong at that stage. And looking from afar, I've gone, who the hell? I saw it coming. I thought, who is this? And, so we quickly went to the Tab Touch app and saw it was Star Trade. Got the bob in on the line to beat Comes a Time, who, for all intents and purposes, looked home.
He did. He was still a really good run. Was only beaten, he was only beaten a nose there, but he had every chance, I think. But Star Trade just produced a just simply enormous performance. He's on his way to the Hannah's Handicap now. I think the Nicopolis Stakes is the next 84 plus 1,200 metre race, so that shapes up to be a really good race, but I wouldn't be jumping off Comes a Time anytime soon.
He certainly wouldn't be. 0427 789 571 is the text line number, and also to get your Sunday saviours in. Plenty in so far, but keep them coming in as well. Before we get into the full review of the program, a gentleman in here yesterday pointed out a interesting tipping service available now on OnlyFans. Libby Hotwood, I tell you what, it's worth a look.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that. She's throws out some big tips, they tell me.
She's doing a very good job, that is for sure. Well done. So OnlyFans, it's called, is it?
Oh, okay. I might have to use your subscription. I haven't.
I haven't paid for a subscription yet,
yep.
But I'm giving it serious thought. Race number 1, and this was the free entry to Belmont Park Handicap. It was over the 1,000 metres, and there were quite some close finishes throughout the day, and this was the first of them.
Around the turn they run. Knight's Mystery from Strathmore Rose. Ponyo is coming one off the fence. Cashaway is looking for a run. There's still nothing there. Athlone Castle. And here's Ghost Who Walks down the outside, joining in with a good run. He's winding up now, but Knight's Mystery is still in front, trying to get through Cashaway. Ghost Who Walks, Ponyo. Cashaway still trying to to get through in the meantime. Goes Who Walks is out wide. Cashaway goes Who Walks. Cashaway finished better. Cashaway, CJP got out of trouble there and beat Goes Who Walks in third, Strathmore.
Well, he did get out of trouble, but it was a good win all the same, and a good ride as well. And great to see Misty Baisley preparing city winners there with Cashaway. He's got a bit of ability, this horse. Beats Goes Who Walks. Strathmore Rose back in third. Athlone Castle fourth.
Amazing win. I think this horse has a really bright future. He wasn't entitled to win that race. He was held up majority of the straight. He had a weight swing against him from Goes Who Walks, who had his back, was extricated to the outside. I think had every chance. It looked like Cashaway was going to run third, then maybe second, and that last 100 metres was just unbelievable. We were all super impressed watching it there on course, and Clint Johnson Porter gave him a really good rap after the race. I think he's got bigger and better things in store. He appears to only be a 1,000-metre horse for the time being, but he's now a winner at 4 from 8, 3 minor placings to go with that as well, and he's been a work in progress. I think he was a barrier rogue initially, and he's had a few sort of manners issues, but Clint was saying yesterday they've got that under control now. The barrier staff are doing a wonderful job, and as is Misty Baisley, who seems to get a nice horse every now and then, and she's doing a really good job. Yeah,
he caught my eye with that win at Pinjarra, which was his previous win, and then the third and the second are pretty good runs as well. So, as you said, doing a terrific job, Misty, with the horse, and, you know, he's now 4 from 8, a couple of placings in there. He's only been out of the place once.
Yeah, exactly. He was only beaten a nose last start, and I remember making him a follow the previous run when he ran third to Goes Who Walks. He was on the rail that day, and that was the day where everything was just coming down the middle part of the track. He was one of the only horses all meeting to make ground along the rail, and since then he's been beaten a nose, and a really nice win there yesterday. Goes Who Walks met him better at the weights, had his back in the run, but just Cashaway was too good. Still a really good run from Goes Who Walks, who still a 1,000-metre specialist at Belmont Park, continues to race really, really well. Strathmore Rose was an improved performance. I think Cura Star in the last was a better run as well. So Roy Rogers' stables just starting to tick back into gear. Strathmore Rose settled in the breeze, was headed in the straight, but managed to fight back and beat home both the leader and the horse outside of her. And Athlone Castle, I thought, was brave as well. 3 wide, no cover. It was a funny one because we thought Athlone Castle has been looking for a small field. He's usually a get-back, run-home type of horse, but tactics appeared to be positive yesterday, and he was caught 3 wide. It was probably a good opportunity for him just to be ridden like he usually is and then find the line late. The luckless horse of the race, probably Real Grace, who went around second or third favourite, was held up majority of the straight. It never really was let off the bridle there. There had some slow ones in front of her, chopping her out. But Cashaway was the talking point out of the race. Really, really impressive.
You heard the interview with Michael Grantham, was it Friday morning or Thursday morning? Not sure, but he basically said Real Grace would need the run anyhow. So little soft pipe opener there for her, and you'd imagine next start goes a lot closer. Anything else from the first?
No, I think we've covered
Ponyo.
I thought Ponyo would lead the race. Settled in the box seat in the end. Was probably an even run, finishing third. She had was to the inside of Cashaway, and Cashaway was nearly a good thing beaten and managed to get out and beat her home by 3 lengths. So I think Ponyo is probably just an even run.
Righto, race number 2, the Tab Touch West Speed Platinum Handicap, and it was over the 1,300 metres.
Turn Astro Warrior leads by 3/4 to 8, no other man. Just nickled out of shade there. Let's Gallivant the inside. 3/4 away, Civvy Street. Strike Now was put under pressure by CJP, trying to respond as 8 corner. Around the bend, Ain't No Other Warrior. Ain't No Other Man has raced up on the outside of Astro Warrior. Let's Gallivant got into the clear, but it's Ain't No Other Man on the outside just in front. Astro Warrior's trying to fight back, and they're clear from Let's Gallivant inside the 200. Ain't No Other Man just in front. Astro Warrior's coming back. Let's Gallivant's finishing hard as well. Ain't No Other Man joined by Let's Gallivant going home better. Astro Warrior the inside, but Let's Gallivant has got home. Let's Gallivant by 3/4 to 8.
Yeah, look, one of the better races of the day, didn't it, as far as horses with ability on the way through, and this is definitely one, almost a 50% win strike rate now for Let's Gallivant, beating Ain't No Other Man and Astro Warrior third.
Only a $10,000 yearling purchase as well. Let's Gallivant. He's just been a little ripper this preparation. He's had 10 starts. He's this time in, he's won 5 of them, and just really appreciates this run in transit. The 3 his last 7 runs now, the 3 starts he's drawn out, he's been huge, running 3rd and 4th, been very brave in the run when he's drawn the outside, and the 4 starts where he's drawn barrier 1 or 2, he's settled in behind them and he's won. So he's ultra consistent, even midway down the straight. Yesterday, it didn't look like he was going to get there, but the last 100 metres, he was just lengthened really, really strongly and picked them up and won with a horse who has bigger and better things in store. Ain't No Other Man, settled in the breeze, just is almost becoming a non-winner. Ain't No Other Man. He's had several chances now. I really like the horse. I think he's got a lot of ability. Look at his form lines. It's probably in a lot stronger races than what he met yesterday. Second to Snipperucci first up. But he's now 3 from 14, but he hasn't won over since in nearly 500 days. So he's probably struggling to lack that killer blow, but he is going well enough.
My male hadn't run for almost 5 weeks, and
I think they were dodging the wet tracks.
Yeah, may improve with the run, I'd say.
Yep. Astro Warrior eventually crossed to the lead, did a bit of work early, but was stuck on quite well. I thought Strike Now was an interesting run. It was 3 back the fence, had the winners back throughout running. This is the horse that was pretty much equal favourite with Let's Gallivant all the way through. Worked home perhaps only fairly, was only beaten a length, but spoke to Clint quickly after the race and he said that he thinks that he would be looking for further. Second up there yesterday, probably wants sort of 14 to a mile. And I think they only went steady as well, which probably didn't help, but wasn't a bad effort, all things considered.
He went in with a good benchmark rating into that race. I thought he'd be hard to beat. So
Met Let's Gallivant half a kilo better for beating him home last time as well.
So take on board what Clint said, maybe looking for more ground. I wouldn't be sacking him on that.
No, definitely not. He's a really nice horse. Strike Now, perhaps second up. He did go super first up, and that would make sense. I think he won up to a mile last preparation, so after a good run at 1200, 1300, second up, probably just a bit sharp.
Need to feel for the boys. Brad McManus doing the tipping program on Thursday on Unhinged. He was started to just get a bit bristly and a little confident about Halatour and getting back onto a firmer track.
Soft 6, bang. Well, there was an interesting one.
Close to a 7. Oh, no, although the times were pretty good, weren't they?
I tend not to have a great look into the times too much when it's sort of at this back end of the season when the track's the way it is and sort of it's either deteriorating or improving. I just find it, I find it a bit hit and miss, but I thought defending was a really good run. Only went steady, was settled last, made up really good late ground. The pattern of the day was probably against him. He had to be on the rail or close to the speed. He's a nice horse. Other than that, Civvy Street had every chance, 1 out, 1 back, and Halatorian just either looking for easier racing or dry decks.
Well, while we've got you here, let's talk about the stable that you do some work for, Daniel and Ben Pearce. They're
flying.
Having a really good run of it of late.
Yeah, they're just having a look now. They're leading the state at the moment in overall winners. They've trained 10 in the first 5 weeks. Danny Morton's second on 8, Steve Wolf on 7. So they're having a really good run of it. Treble at Northam on Thursday, and so mostly with sort of 2, 3, 4-year-old horses as well. So not horses that have been around the block a whole heap. Some more progressive types that should be able to go on with it. And they had a lot of 2-year-olds last season, and only a few stepped out. So looking forward to the next 12 months. So
was that a conscious effort by the boys to get in and buy these horses and set it up for a younger batch to come through?
I think there's just been a bit of a transition period. Like a couple of years ago, they had some really nice horses, your Vital Silvers, Angelic Rulers, Essential Spices. They've even Dig Deep sort of hit his mark now, and they've obviously got older or retired, and now it's just this new wave coming through. They've sort of been treading water the past 12 months. So did they do anything different in identifying these horses? Because it's like an AFL team. If you stuff the trade up, you stuff for a couple of years. Yep. Same thing at the yearling sales. If you don't get the yearlings right, you're in a I think they probably, I reckon when they bought in maybe 2019, it was a bit of a rough year, but since then they've bought really well, and they're starting to get the results now, and probably a lot more babies as well. Like I said, I think they had 20-something 2-year-olds last season, only a few stepped out. So there's more to come, and there's some really nice babies coming through. And to be fair to them, they do it well with the owners as well, don't they? They have that owners day at Pinjarra, and they seem to put a bit of time back into that side of their business as well. Well, you have to these days. It's I think every trainer would attest to the fact there's not too many owners out there that send you a fully paid up for horse anymore. So you have to, a lot of it's down to syndication and finding horses, and a lot of sort of 2.5%, 5%, 10% owners, and you have to cater for it and market for it and keep updates, and a lot of stables are in the same boat.
0427 789 571. Who we got? Uncle Michael from East Fremantle. He's not too happy as Belmont Park as a venue, but he did say, but a shout out to the owners section. It's done well, friendly staff and well organised. That's from Trev from East Fremantle, in fact.
And usually if you're in the owners section, you've probably had a win, so you'd be pretty happy anyhow.
Hopefully he did. Father's Day here, Racing Rewind. Michael Heaton, Marty Young with you, 22 past 8 o'clock. Currently 13 degrees, looking for 21, a little bit of rain about today. Race number 3 at Belmont Park yesterday was the Amelia Park Handicap over the 1,300 metres.
Enters the bolter, So Schmick at 150 to 1. Outside of it, Enticing. Alsafina travelling well enough. It's about 6 off the leader before the bend. On the inside, Candles Madad, and last of all, Pretty Friar. Around the turn, No Change just in front of the Great Hoy. Simple Logic 3 wide. Enticing moved up 4 wide. Ginger Green looks for a run. Likewise, So Schmick. Now Alsafina gets to the outside, and Pretty Friar is also running on. No Change on the inside. The Great Hoy is trying to come at No Change, who fights hard. Enticing, and Alsafina joining in. Inside the 150, here's Alsafina after No Change. Ginger Green's getting through as well. Ginger Green darting through, hit the front from Alsafina and No Change, and Ginger Green first up as one from Alsafina. No Change on the inside.
Was good win there to Steve Wolf and his band of merry men that have been with Steve for a very long time, some of those owners, and this horse by Gingerbread Man could have been a real good contender. Could have been a contender, Charlie, but it's had a fair few problems in the early part of its career.
Yeah, that's what Steve alluded to yesterday. Had big raps on the horse early days. Things went amiss. But speaking to Sean yesterday and interviewing him, he said that he's probably should have had a lot more starts than he obviously has. But he has ability, and he thinks he really appreciates Belmont Park as well. He was first up there yesterday off a 77-day break, and yeah, he almost looked like it was a similar watch to Cashaway. He was just trucking in behind them, had nowhere to go, and when he found the gap, he just burst through and he won really impressively. This was probably the most, along with Star Trade, probably the most surprising result for me yesterday, because Alsafina, the short price favourite, was super impressive first up, had won 3 out of 4 going into it. Just looked the obvious winner midway down the straight when she made that run, but Ginger Green was held up and just went straight past her and held her through the line. It was a really, really impressive win, and a win of a horse that has more upside, but I'm also not sure whether that made Alsafina disappointing or not. On face value, it looked a little bit plain. The track did play more towards those on paces and on the rail. Ginger Green did settle in the box seat, and so perhaps pattern was against her, but I still would have expected Alsafina to run over the top of Ginger Green.
Yeah, and Ginger Green gave her a kilo as well.
Exactly. So really good win there. Alsafina, perhaps just wait to see how she goes third up before making a call on the performance overall, but perhaps track pattern against her there. Enticing had a nice run in transit. We know he's a more accomplished heavy track horse, so it was not a bad effort on a soft 6, No Change, led and stuck on fairly to be only beaten 2 lengths. But I liked the effort of Pretty Friar. It was first up there over a unsuitable 1,300 metres, settled last on a day where you couldn't settle last, and made up really good late ground to only be beaten a couple of lengths. I think looks set for a pretty nice campaign. I was with the Great Hoya, who was dropping 6 kilos, got in really well with the 3-year-old allowance, settled in the breeze, and I thought was quite disappointing. So perhaps an end of prep run for him. He's had a pretty good campaign.
Yeah, so the first 2 in the run compounded, but third, Ginger Green, as you said, leaders back, was able to slice and dice and win the race. So Alsafina, the market really firmed up on it, didn't they?
Yeah. I think late it actually drifted. It was, initially there was a really good push, and you could understand why. But I tipped against it yesterday. I just thought maybe it was likely to be a moderately run affair. She could well find herself last, and I just thought it might be a bit of an ugly watch. But she had a nice enough run, 1 out, 3 back, peeled into it at the right time, and looked the winner halfway down the straight. But to Ginger Green's credit, track pattern suited, but still put her away quite convincingly.
On to race number 4, the Key Clean Handicap. It was over the 1,200 metres.
Coming up towards a home turn. Dancecocky's got the lead from Purely. Vital Blast under a lot of pleasure. Universal Pleasure's travelling really well just off them. Gets out 3 wide now. Titan Blinders looking for a run just behind them. And right to the outside is Honeydew. Racing inside the 300. Universal Pleasure has raced up with Titan Blinders getting an inside run. Dancecocky, Purely still there, and Probity is down the outside. Universal Pleasure's in front. Probity's finishing hard. Universal Pleasure's got the lead though from Probity. Universal Pleasure is holding Probity, and second, Universal Pleasure. 1 3/4 to Probity. About 3 lengths away. Third, Dance Cocky. Fought on well. And
yes, a good win here from the mare Universal Pleasure. Steph Valhalla's got this horse going really well, 2 from 2. I think we both highlighted it last start, didn't we, after its win?
Yep.
And she went on with it. So good on Steph, good on Stevie Parnham. And good on her, beating Probity, Dance Cocky back from up north and Pooley back in fourth. What did you make of the run of Titan Blinders?
Thought it was an even run. Didn't appeared to be sort of held up slightly on straightening, but I think it's a little bit better suited over further as well. But at Universal Pleasure was super win first up, was well placed that day in a 0 metro win race considering her peak form, but she was the only horse to win up the rail for the entire day, and she won with authority, winning by a length, so she was always going to be a horse to follow. Yesterday up to 1,200 metres was always going to land in a really lovely position, especially when the favourite, Regal Magic, who had drawn underneath her, was scratched just before the race. And she just looked, it was quite a messy run race actually, but she just always looked the winner, 1 out, 1 back, was travelling really strongly. And Steph Valhalla's having a wonderful run. Looking at his last 3 runners, he's had 3 individual winners, his last 3 starters. Universal Pleasure, 3 winners, 2 individual winners. Universal Pleasure on the 20th of the 8th, Tuscan Holiday during the week, and Universal Pleasure yesterday. You go back to his 5 runs ago, it was Aztec Ruler, who looks a real talent coming back for perhaps a Placid Arc and a Guineas.
Well, Chrissy Parnham on the program, I think it was Wednesday, gave Aztec Rule a huge rap. So
what's that? His last 5 runners, pretty much. He's had 3 individual winners and won 4 races. So he's having a really good run of it, Steph Valhalla, with only small numbers. But this mare can go on with it. Interesting, after the race, though, he said he's finally worked out the trick to her, that she's...
less work the better.
Less work the better. And I remember Darren McAuliffe actually saying that many, many years ago about the Universal Rule of Stock. He said, if you want to get them going, you just don't work them. I think, or obviously work them, but just keep them a light workload. And interesting that Steph pretty much was in agreement with that yesterday, and he said keep her preparations short as well. So I'm not sure whether she may just come back for Ascot now, or but she'd be a really nice Jungle Mist type like what she contested last year.
Yep.
Loved the run of Probity, 3 weeks between runs there. Couldn't really get into the clear until the 200 and savaged the line late, and a big gap back to the 3rd placed horse, and he was taking good late ground off Universal Pleasure, so I thought it was a really good run for the pattern of the day. Dance Cocky was a surprise. Had a terrific broom season, and back on the grass previously, was disappointed in graduation races, and then his run yesterday, he was 8 points higher. His Metropolitan rating was 8 points higher after the good broom season he had. So Scott Embry and I were against him yesterday, thinking that if he was disappointing last prep on the grass in a graduations, he'll probably find it difficult rated 8 points higher now, but clearly just going really, really well, and he's brought that broom form to the grass. And Pooley, second run for Lucy Warwick, had to work hard early, was 3 wide, then went to the breeze and stuck on much better with 61.5 kilos. I think the camp would have been a lot happy with that. Honeydew's off to the paddock from all reports. She's had a good preparation, and Queen of Soul, Digby was big on the fact yesterday that she spins her wheels, so she might be a risk on the soft 6 track. She had the winners back in running, ran last, beaten 7 lengths, so either too bad to be true or didn't handle the soft 6 surface.
So was Honeydew of end of prep type run?
Yes, never really came on, and Lockie said yesterday that both Honeydew and Bold Success will go to the paddock now, but Honeydew's only a class 3 mare, having a look at her, so I certainly think there's more wins in store, and Definitely. She could probably pinch a Saturday as well.
You are listening to Racing Rewind, brought to you by Sessions, standing the 22-23 season at Oakland Park Stud. Breeders of demerit consider Sessions, who is also a son of the highly successful Longo.
As Castillo del Lago has increased its lead to about 3.5. Ale is racing midfield. Over on the inside is Lone Hand Larry. Let's Steal still about 12 off the leader, who's raced clear before the corner. Vital Flirt on the inside, and then Power of St George coming up to the turn. 600 to go. Castillo del Lago, can it keep it going? Leads by 3 1/4. Catalpa is getting up on the inside. Inflation starting to struggle, and then Rejuva King pegging up on the inside, followed by Go Bella. Ale gets to the outside. Let's Let Steele's about a length and a half behind him, and Paris and George is right down the outside, but Castillo Del Lago is clear by 2.5. Catalpa's closing in nicely now, and here's Rejuva King running home strongly, but Catalpa has hit the front. Rejuva King is getting home hard. Catalpa in front. Rejuva King can't get there. Catalpa's clinging on. Rejuva King trying hard, but Catalpa just in front. Oh, Rejuva King had a real dive on the line. It might have missed, but it's a photo finish. It's very close. And they raced away from Castillo Del Lago, Alele Lay, and then Lone Hand Larry.
Yeah, it was a tighty in the end, but it was Rejuva King on the outside. Gets up to beat Catalpa, Castillo Del Lago, and Alele. Good effort from the 3-year-old against the older horses.
Super effort, super horse. Guinea's bound, I'd say now. There's 3 wins in a row. Remarkably, all 3 starts, he's settled 3 back the fence, and I think he's jumped from middle draws. He's just been really well ridden by Brad Parnham, who just knows him so well. He doesn't have much gate speed, this horse, but he's always looked like a miler, and there was a good win 1,200 metres 2 starts ago. Last start got the job done over 1,400 metres, and good effort yesterday. It was a tougher assignment. He was dropping 3 kilos, but 3-year-olds against the older horses in September are given a 3.5 kilo weight allowance over 1,600 metres. That is, it's 2.5 kilos over less distance, and he only had a 2 kilo allowance there yesterday under the weight scale. So he was 1.5 kilos theoretically worse off than what he should have been, and he was still able to win. Just having a look at the handicapping guide now, where a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old wins or places in an all-aged race, the handicapper may absorb the age allowance within the horse's rating to avoid an excessive rating penalty.
That's what we're talking about off air.
Yeah, in this situation, the horse may not receive an age allowance at subsequent starts. So that's what I thought, that because he was 1.5 kilos worse off, I was just hoping that he didn't receive an extra 3 points for the win, but I think he'll receive probably just his standard 4 points, and then just won't receive the age allowance at his next start. But I'm not too sure what the plan is actually. I couldn't quite hear what Danny said yesterday, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him freshen up and come back for the Guineas now. He's certainly shown enough ability and proven at a mile. Catalpa was the horse that ran second. Desperate finish again, settled in the box seat, had a perfect run, looked the winner all bar the post. The last 2 times Pontiff's ridden this horse, it's been a winner. Nose second, goes really well for Paul. Castillo Del Lago was really well backed yesterday, opened up $12, started $4, led, gave them something to catch, but just tied the last 200 metres. And I'm actually going to make Alele a bit of a follow today. He was beaten, ran 4th, beaten 3.5 lengths, but settled a pair or 2 further back than I thought. And you look at the way this race was run, rails in run affair. Castillo Del Lago led clear by a couple of lengths. Catalpa had his back in the box seat. Rejuva King had his back in 3 back the fence. Alele was 1 out, 3 back, got going late, and I think it was a really good run considering the pattern of the day, and his first up run behind Fansra and Multinational has proven to be a gold mine form reference, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him go around each way odds, and if he can settle up a bit handier, I think he can run a really nice race. And Lone Hand Larry had the back of the winner, Rejuva King, in the run. Wasn't a bad effort, first up over a mile. Talking point out of the race, probably Let's Deal, who was favourite. 1 out and 4 back, had Alele's back in the run. Alele ran a really nice 4th. Let's Deal finished the best part of 4 lengths behind him in 8th. General consensus yesterday from Sean McGrady was that he was a first-up horse, that he looks that way, that all of his wins have been first up. He looks dynamite first up, and he just doesn't appear to be the same horse at his subsequent runs. And I think I may have heard or read in the steward's report that he will go ahead to the paddock now. So I think Steve Wolf may be of a similar view as well.
Yeah, it says the post-race vet examination revealed no
abnormalities,
abnormalities, and trainer advisor going to now go for a spell. Inflation retired?
Yes, Mitchell Pateman's done a good job with him. I think it was his first winner as a trainer as well, and I think Mitch may have ridden him at Kalgoorlie to victory one day as well when he was training him. So a special horse for Mitch, but off to the paddock for a well-earned retirement now.
And also Rejuva King post-race vet examination revealed minor abrasions to both hind fetlocks as well. So an even better win there from Rejuva King. And as you say, could be heading towards the Guineas.
Yeah, you'd think so. I asked Brad in the post-race, Brad Parnham, yesterday if because there's not many horses that win over 1,200 metres and then stretch out to 2,400 metres or that type of distance. I said, is he just a good miler, or do you think he can stretch out? And got the impression he thinks he can stretch out, and that I think his comment was he'd be surprised if he wins another 1,200 metre race. So he's obviously that more of a dour type that was probably, as it turns out, maybe he was just too good for them that day. When he won over 1,200 metres, he's since gone bang bang, and he's probably a miler and beyond.
By patronise and demerits and patronise.
Good bread and butter stallions.
Are they ever? They just keep doing the job. The race number 6, a Tab Touch Betty or Bet Handicap over the 2,100 metres.
Coming up towards a home turn, and General Grant has popped away from the inside as they bend around the corner. Accelerate in front. General Grant has raced up on the outside and shot up to the leader now. Just off them is Olden coming down the outside. Crescent City giving them a big start inside the 350, and General Grant has raced up on the outside of Accelerate, who's trying to fight with him. They're clear. Truly Reliable's running on, and right down the outside is Aragain, but it's General Grant just in front. Accelerate tries to come back, but General Grant has got the lead, and Stevie Miller will send in Kalgoorlie as a winner. General Grant, he's a pretty smart stayer, second up, and he was able to win over the long trip. Accelerate second, and they broke right.
Well, I spoke to Richard Spencer Bell down the line yesterday, who's calling the broadcasting the meeting, and said, "What's your best of the day?" And he said, "General Grant." And at very good odds, got the money. Never going to lose, I thought, in the run. Accelerate into second, Truly Reliable third. Crescent City back in fourth. A lot of people wanted to tell me he could win there yesterday.
Yeah, General Grant, second up there yesterday, just a genuine staying type. It was a really good effort first up, 62 kilos at Pinjarra, chased a tearaway leader that day to run second. Was up 500 metres yesterday, second up, which is never easy to do, but I just think he's a real genuine staying type. He was down 3 kilos, had a perfect run, and Brad Barnum's riding as well as anyone. I think him and Paul Harvey are just killing them at the moment with the way they're putting their horses into the race. And Brad really strong in close finishes yesterday. He was able to get over the top of Paul Harvey, which is easy to do with Rejuva King, and got over the top of Sean O'Donnell here on the concluding stages yesterday to bring up a race-to-race double. I think General Grant's off to the Boulder Cup now, and if he handles the track and goes well, he'll progress to the Kalgoorlie Cup, and I think he'd make a nice Cal Cup horse. He's
in the right stable.
Right stable, but he has a little bit of tactical speed for a stayer as well. He's not a front runner or anything, but he's a horse that can use a barrier like we saw yesterday. Barrier 1, he can box seat if he can settle midfield or closer, and he's the sort of horse that big loping type who Brad, you peel him out 3 wide, put him into the race, and that's generally where the winners come at Kalgoorlie, when you put them into the race 3 wide, turning for home. I can see him going really well in the Goldfields. Accelerate, great run, third up for Ash Maley's yard since joining his care, up 500 metres as well to 2,100. Stuck on really well, led throughout and almost throughout, only beaten there in the final strides. And Truly Reliable, just to show the pattern of the day again, the winner box seat on the rail, Accelerate led, Truly Reliable fall back the fence, stuck to the fence turning for home when all the others peeled off. So just showed that the rail and close to the speed was really the place to be on the day. And Crescent City, he's going okay. He had to switch paths in the straight and found the line well late, but he's going around under the odds. He's been crunched in betting 3 runs in a row now over staying journeys and hasn't been able to get the job done. So whilst he's racing well, I just don't think he's a betting proposition moving forward. And Aragain, I loved the run of Aragain. She was first up there yesterday over 2,100 metres, was 3 wide with the cover on a rails run day, and loomed like she was going to play a part in the finish. She really good run to run 5th in a full 16-horse field.
I don't like doing this, Michael. Question without notice, though. Who would be the leading Western Australian jockey on the Australian Jockeys Premiership right now?
Overall or Metro?
Overall.
Well, I think Brad's leading WA, so I'll go with Brad.
Can't be right then, because it's saying here, and this was up till today.
Was it Paul?
Holly Watson.
Oh, really?
12 wins.
Wow.
James McDonald's had 28 wins so far this season, so it's basically going just over a month, right?
Yeah, he's 5 weeks into the season, yep.
Yeah. Prize money earnings of $2.3 million after a month. It's going all right?
Jeez. That's what's that, 5%?
115.
Yeah, 115 overall.
For the month. Fair month, James. Other leading jocks there, James Mott, Ryan Maloney, who's a very underrated rider, and Damien Lane has ridden 16 winners and earned $1.1 million so far. Trainers Chris Waller leads with 30. Mar Eustace has thrown down the challenge. They've got 23. And they're sticking with them in prize money. 2.6 for Chris, Kieran Marr and David Eustace, 2.1. Tony Goller next with 21 there. So
Holly's ridden 12. Natasha Faithful's ridden 11 winners so far. Just prolific winning riding jockey, isn't she? Tash just kills them there in the bush.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Race number 7, and that is the Jolly Beggar Stakes. It was over the 1,000 metres.
Up to the bend, Mervyn can't get away from them. Spin the Knife's only a half length away, but ridden up. Third on the inside, Long Beach. Then No White Flag, Gemma's Son. She comes at times travelling strongly. It's about to get to the outside, and then coming around, who's making ground, followed by Star Trade in the straight at the 300. Mervyn in front of Spin the Knife, Long Beach on the outside, Gemma's Summon. Here comes a time down the outside, and then No White Flag getting up on the inside, Long Beach, Mervyn. Spin the Knife is still there, but comes a time is coming hard down the outside now. Comes a time's after Long Beach, the inside. Long Beach comes a time going home better. Star Trade flew, I think it just missed. Comes a time and nose to Star Trade, who put in a massive dive on the line, came from nowhere. Third Long Beach, and fourth coming around running on. Mervyn got very tired from Gemma.
Star Trade getting the better there of Comes a Time in a driving finish, coming around back in third, Long Beach fourth.
Good race, terrific finish. I've just cannot believe the way this race unfolded. Star Trade, just a huge effort. Last at the furlong, if you take away the horse that tailed off there in Son of a God, Star Trade was still dead last at the furlong and appeared to be travelling okay. And Danny Morton even said after the race looked like he was just going to run a nice midfield finish, which was a perfect pipe opener heading towards the Hannon's handicap. But he's just an out-and-out winner, Star Trade, and somehow he found a way to win. He's now won 12 races. He's never won over 1,000 metres going into today. He raced over 2,000 metres only 7 weeks prior. And you don't often see Marty horses win over 50% of the distance within 2 months of each other, do you?
No, I'm just going back, having another look at this win. It was quite amazing.
It was an incredible performance, and he's always showed ability. Like Danny's obviously done a terrific job with him, but I think he won 8 or 9 races up in Geraldton and
through the line.
Yeah,
he was ready to win at 1,400.
Yeah, absolutely.
So can I ask you one thing, or we'll discuss one thing briefly? Dan Morton, he's produced a horse here that has dropped from 2,000 to 1,001, right? He's produced Rejuva King as a 3-year-old against the older horses and won. Like,
it's a freak.
You're looking for training performances and big efforts within. He's just pulled 2 rippers off.
And what about his last season? I think he had 7 individual 2-year-old winners. So he's doing it with these older horses. Stafford's Lad last season, Star Trade this season. He's doing it with the 2-year-olds. He's obviously wins several 3-year-old feature races every season. He can travel them and win, does them locally. He's just got the full package, Danny. He's just one of our premier trainers. But terrific effort there, Star Trade, on his way to the Hannon's handicap. I think then a couple of stakes and a fortnight over 1,200 metres. That shows up to be a really good race now. Comes a time, would get a little weight swing on him. Still the sharper horse of the 2, but interesting. It'll be a really good race in a fortnight's time. I think Comes a Time still well on track for the Hannons. It's shaping up to be a nice little race. I think the Hannons next month.
Yeah, been pushing this a bit, haven't you?
Yeah, but we say that every year though, so I'm still probably just going to wait till I see it to believe it, because every year we hear a lot of horses going to the Hannons, and for whatever reason that doesn't always eventuate.
Michael, the other thing with Star Trade is he's very good on a good track.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I don't think he's been exposed to a wet track too many times, being up in Geraldton, but he's still better on top of the ground. And coming around, I thought, apparently, I didn't actually hear the interview with Grant, but Digby was saying yesterday morning on Inside Running that after he trialled so well, Paul Harvey came back and said to Grant, why don't you just keep him fresh and keep him at 1,000? He'd never raced over 1,000 in his entire career. I think he's a 7-year-old, and he produced a ripper of a run. He was back near last, was beaten less than a length into third. This was a horse that when he draws handy over more ground, he can settle handy. So I think if he's heading towards a Hannon's handicap, I think he'll be a live chance. And Long Beach went around big odds, failed first up, but that was on a wet track. You can see just his record shows that he's just a real dry track type of horse. And at his best last campaign, he sat 3 wide and was beaten a length by Elite Street. Like, he's a really good horse, Long Beach. And I think if it was a drier deck yesterday, he goes even closer. So that was a good run. Mervyn was a typical Mervyn run, really brave, led until about the 100, then just compounded late, was only beaten 2 lengths. Gemma's Son was brave, no white flag, didn't have much luck. Back to 1,000 was always somewhat of a query, but held up a bit, and he'll head to the paddock now. And unsure what to make of Son of a God, tailed off throughout, and he'll have to trial again, reading the Stewards report. Mm-hmm. And Spin the Knife, both runs back in this time in have been disappointing, but clearly a talented horse. I think he just goes better at Ascot, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him freshen up and come back on top of the ground in a month or two.
I'd say horses to follow. This is a race to follow. Star Trade comes a time coming round, and even Long Beach.
And the thing that I like about it, we were saying it on the preview yesterday, that for a 1,000-metre race, a lot of these horses are 1,000-metre horses. They're moving towards Hannon's over 1,400, or they're better suited over further. You look at that trifecta, they're all horses probably heading towards a Hannon. So it's a really good race moving forward, and I'm excited about the Nicopolis Stakes in a couple of weeks, and also the Hannons.
Race.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, race number 8, and this was the Crown Perth Handicap.
Getting up on the inside, Holy Ghost. MTA gets to the outside, and then Rationale in the straight. Kiora Star has still got the lead from Mood Swings. Multinational is coming through on the inside. Kiora Star in front. Multinational and also Mood Swings on the outside. Kiora Star joined by Multinational. Mood Swings the outside. Multinational and Mood Swings have come together. Multinational. Mood Swings fights hard though. Mood Swings has regained the lead, and Mood Swings has won from Multinational. MTA, he always was out very wide. Might have snatched 4th. Back on the inside, Holy Ghost, and close up is Try for Us.
Well, there it is. Mood Swings. George Dupre and Kishore Durin get the money. Beats Multinational. We had it in a little double going up there. Unfortunately, touched off. MTA 3rd, and he always back in for Try for Us 5th.
Kishore Durin celebrated a birthday yesterday and capped off the day a winner.
Another one. That's 4 that I know had a birthday September 3.
Really?
Yeah, Dean Lester.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Grant Lillyman, owner of Weapon Son.
Yep.
And my sister Tony.
Oh,
there's 4.
Beautiful.
Quartet.
Weapon Son scratch yesterday.
Yep.
Oh, I had the horse on top in this race, actually, initially, before the scratching.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Was it you who backed it? Jeez, that was an amazing betting move. 15's in.
Was it? I didn't say the 15.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or 14 or 15.
But Mood Swings yesterday out to 1,300 metres, I think for the first time. Looked to be a little bit of a query on paper, and on a softer deck does his best work on top of the grounds, but really good win. Sat on the breeze. Multinational plunged in betting, deservedly so as well.
Yep.
Was been racing
the track? Yeah,
he had the right form on the board, was always going to land in a perfect position, which he did. Brad Parnham looking for a treble. He always looked to be the money horse in the race, but to Mood Swings' credit, had half a kilo more, and I actually think he held him through the line. Multinational had to switch back to the inside when Cura Star started to lay off, but I don't think it cost him enough to change the result. It was still a really good win by Mood Swings. I'm going to make MTA a follow. Out of the meeting, 3 wide with cover, not the place to be there yesterday. Still had a nice run and a nice track into the race, but hit the line really well against the pattern of the day. And he's a horse again that can settle a lot more prominently if he ever draws a gate. Goes really well fresh. I actually think he might be on a Hannon's path as well, MTA. So it could be a nice little addition. Always, I love this horse. Back in the run, fall back the fence, made up. Probably him and Star Train, I think, made up some of the most ground all meeting. Really good run. And Try for Us, cheeky run fresh, better suited over further, found the line well late. Cura Star led, tired late, but still an improved effort, looking for a drier track. But Multinational, another top 2 finish now. Mood Swings, pretty brave, and MTA a follow.
He's had a terrific season, hasn't he, Multinational?
Oh, he's a ripper. Yep, absolutely. I don't think he's finished out of the top 2 all campaign. I think it's something like his career, 12 starts, 4 wins, 5 seconds. So he's...
On Racing Rewind, it is time for the boys to look back and determine who are the black bookers, the ones to be on next start, the horses to follow.
Horses to follow, Michael.
Two for me out of the meeting. On Speed Day, closer to the rail was the place to be. I really liked the effort of MTA. 3 wide with cover, hit the line strongly, brought really good form lines last campaign. And Alay settled a pair or two further back than expected yesterday in a race dominated by those on the rail. I thought it was a good effort and wouldn't be surprised to see him pick up a race soon.